Searching for local businesses in Northwest Arkansas just got easier. From restaurants to roofers, boutiques to baristas, FindItNWA.com connects you to the best local businesses with just one click. Discover something local, something great. Visit FindItNWA.com today. Find it fast, find it local, FindItNWA.com.
It's time for another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas, the podcast covering the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in general here in the Ozarks. Whether you are considering a move to this area or trying to learn more about the place you call home, we've got something special for you. Here's our host, Randy Wilburn.
Today on I Am Northwest Arkansas, we're exploring what happens when hospitality meets intention. I'm joined by Cognac Franklin, Director of Operations at the Stonebreaker in Fayetteville, part boutique hotel, part club, and part community gathering space. The Stonebreaker is redefining what it means to serve others with care and purpose. Whether you're a hotel guest, a club member, or a neighbor stopping by for coffee, this space is designed to welcome and inspire. Cognac's leadership helps bring all of this together. And so without further ado, today, I want to welcome Cognac Franklin to the podcast. Cognac, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Randy, for having me on the podcast. And I'm happy that I am getting to share what the Stonebreaker means to us with Northwest Arkansas.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And you know, for the audience, I wanted to just put it out there that I've connected with Cognac for a while now, and I've been coming here to the Stonebreaker to just work. It's a great club space to work. The restaurant is fabulous here. We had a previous episode where we talked about the Stonebreaker restaurant, but today we're really kind of talking about the club and just about the overall program that's here at the top of Markham Hill. So it's right, I'd say, a stone's throw from the University of Arkansas campus. You can see the stadium from the top of the hill where we're sitting here at the Stonebreaker. And so it's got a great location. And so I'd love maybe just kind of start off just talking a little bit about what originally drew you to the Stonebreaker and its mission.
So originally when I first got here, I was tasked with being the membership director. So helping to create this space for members to feel welcome in, whether it was going to be for socializing or to have a work collaboration space that they could have an office away from home or from their current corporate office. And so as a membership director, what drew me to the space is that we were going to get to create something unique to Fayetteville. So typically in social clubs, they don't have a public restaurant at the bottom of the private club. So that alone was something unique that I was going to be able to not only get to experience those who are looking for a private membership club, but I was going to have that interaction with community members as well.
Yeah. You know, I'm curious to know, this isn't obviously the first private membership club in Fayetteville, but there are other clubs like this in Northwest Arkansas.
Yes.
And speaking of which, you're familiar with a club up in Bentonville, right?
Yes. So I was the community manager at Blake Street for 2 years. And there we were more wellness focused. So our main tagline there was that we were going to meet you where you were on your wellness journey. So whether that was for stay-at-home moms who wanted a space where they could come shower without having kids opening and closing the doors, or they just needed a breath of fresh air to be able to work out in our facilities there, the spa there. So it was definitely a unique space that was kind of a staple in Bentonville for a long time. So it was great to be a part of that experience as well. And although we are a private club, just like Blake Street, we do share some similarities with community. And so just like Blake Street is a community space, the Stonebreaker is as well.
Yeah. And it really does feel like a community space. But, you know, one of the things that I've noticed is that, you know, coming here, it's like the best kept secret, right? Like, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast. And it's one of the reasons why we featured the restaurant as well, because we want people to be aware of what's available for them right here in their own backyard. I can literally get here. I live on the east side of Fayetteville, and I can get over to here by the university in about 10 or 12 minutes, and it's easy to get to. People that come up here on Markham Hill will notice that there are a lot of new homes being built. There's a huge development that is around here. And so I'd love for you maybe just to kind of talk about the bigger picture of why this area is so, it's growing the way that it is. And for those that have been around for a while, this is where the Pratt farm was, and there is a barn here. And so they've had the Roots Festival has been held up here at the farm. And this space has been reimagined with a hotel, with a restaurant and a club, all in the past couple of years. So during the pandemic, all of this new growth happened, but we're still on Markham Hill.
Yes.
And it's one of the highest hills here in Fayetteville.
So I'm so glad that you said reimagined, because that's the word that embodies what we are doing here on Markham Hill for sure. Whether it be down at the foot of the hill with the new Markham Hill homes going in, and then when you come up to the top and you see what we call the clubhouse or the main house, then you start to feel a sense of arrival. And that's what we want to do here. And everything here that we do, whether it's the hotel, the club, the restaurant, and just the grounds in general, we want you to feel like you're experiencing something that's unique to the hill.
Yeah.
So whether it's a peaceful stroll that the neighbors get to have now that we have the grounds open up, whether it's having coffee on the porch, taking in the fire pits in the fall, like we want you to experience the space however you see fit. And that's where the third space comes in, because socially, we want you to feel like you can come here with friends. We want you to feel like even if you're a small business owner, we want you to be able to come here and entertain clients. We want a direct path to the university for them to feel like they can come and experience the restaurant for lunch, private dinners, meetings, and all of that. So it's very important that when we talk about Markham Hill, that we don't necessarily forget what used to be here.
Oh, yeah.
But we embrace it. And so this overall project for the Stonebreaker is that we are a Victorian house burdened by optimism. So
I love that. Burdened by optimism.
Yes.
So.
And that optimism is that this space is going to be different for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's going to be unique, and it's going to be kind of uncharted territory, because we are trying to preserve the history of what Markham Hill used to be, but we're also embracing this new role that we have, that we're curators of Fayetteville, that we're not taking anything away from the city of Fayetteville, but we're trying to chart our new path in our new territory by providing a space for the community.
Well, and I think that's important. I mean, this area has grown. It's grown in the 11 years that I've been here. I was just looking at the population the other day because I have an exchange student living with me, and he was asking me, how big is Fayetteville? And we're over 100,000 people now, and second largest city in the state. There is a lot. I mean, obviously we have the state institution here, the University of Arkansas, but I mean, there's just so many wonderful things that are happening here. And one of the things that really struck me about you, Cognac, was that you really took your time to learn the history of this area. Because a lot of times when people look at new developments, people say, oh, well, so-and-so's coming in here and taking over our space, and they don't know the history and all that. And I remember one of our first conversations, and you were, and I'm a history major, and a lot of my listeners know that, but you were taking me to school, just educating me about this hill and why it's significant, the farm that was here, the families that lived here. I mean, folks, Cognac knows it all when it comes to the history of this area. And that speaks volumes, right? Not just to who you are, but it speaks volumes to what the Stonebreaker is trying to do here, that it's not trying to replace things, that it's really trying to embrace and enhance what has been a really amazing history up here on this hill. The stuff you shared with me, which I don't know that we'll have time to really get into in this podcast episode, but I know we've talked about doing some programmatic things here at the Stonebreaker, some storytelling to really kind of bridge the old with the new.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really exciting. But I would love for you just to give us a little taste of your historical knowledge of this hill and why it is significant and why people should even care about that.
So a lot of the historians like to start with the Pratt family, the original family to the hill. This was one of Arkansas's first homestead families here in this area. And in 1895, this was uncharted territory for Arkansas.
Yeah.
That you had a family that was coming here to not only put down roots, but actually see what this hill and what this bluff could actually do for them as a family, whether it was going to be farming, whether it was going to be, raising cattle, horses, all of the things. And they took their time. It took them 15 years to actually build their first house that was the anchor or the Victorian house here. And that was important to them because they wanted to be able to establish themselves here in Arkansas after being almost like a railroad family.
Yeah.
And so when the designers came in, FOTA, they're the designers from Austin who came up with the concept, the Stonebreaker. They took homage to all of those things. So you have a colonial house that was turned back into a Victorian house after being the Pratt bed and breakfast. And they paid tribute to all the nods of what used to take place here. So if you go into our front desk area, you'll see references to the horse racing that they used to do up here. And then if you see different nods here in the main house, you'll see different things that pay tribute to the summer camps that the hill was most known for.
Yeah.
The Markham Hill top camps, which the camp had many names over time, but that one was the one that pretty much stuck throughout history when people reference the summer camps. And so this is supposed to be like a summer camp, but for grown-ups.
Right.
So it's supposed to be a place where you can not only come to relax, but just like all summer camps, what do you glean from it?
Yeah.
What do you learn from it?
Yeah.
And so there should be some learning when you come up here to the main house and the grounds to say, okay, whether it's a portrait, whether it's a figurine that you see, whether it's the etchings that we have in the restaurant that attribute to a lot of the folk art that you see and a lot of our reference points of the front desk, hotel, and those places. So this whole area, I think what we're trying to create is a new path to spark conversation.
Okay.
This development has had many different faces, whether it was the bed and breakfast. It had history of being university housing for a while. And then it had also a nod to the music festivals that took place up here. And so instead of, shying away from all of those different avenues, we're trying to embrace it.
Well, when I think about the festival, and I remember coming up here for the last time the Roots Festival had the space up here. They used the open area right next to the barn. The barn was used kind of as a staging area. They had chefs and different restaurants represented all around the barn. And then they had the stage. And I mean, they had some amazing bands that came up here and performed. And I mean, it was just a magical experience, and I talked to people about it and they were like, yeah, we so miss that. And so how are you hoping to kind of capture the essence that people experienced up here for Roots and some other events and programs that have happened up here with the Stonebreaker now?
So we finally have a grassed meadow in the back that's right off of our barn that's been, that back area of the property with the Markham Hill homes coming in and kind of the third development of Markham Hill. So we finally have a grassed meadow with a clear path from our courtyard. So we're looking forward to hosting some music festivals next summer back up here. It may not necessarily be as big of a production as the Roots Festival, So we want to start out small. We've already had a concert series up here on the hill with some local musicians. So we hope to extend that to the back meadow. But then as far as events go, Winetopia was a long had nonprofit event that happened up here on Markham Hill when it was the Pratt barn. So we're excited that Winetopia will be back here in the barn this year. So we're looking forward to welcoming back old friends, but then we're also excited that we're charting new territories with new couples having their weddings here, rehearsal dinners, engagement parties, anniversary parties. One of our members celebrated her dad's 80th birthday party here in the barn last year. So we're embracing all of those things, but we're also just trying to be an anchor spot for people, whether it's a 20-person event or whether it's 300 people. We want to be the location where people feel comfortable.
Yeah. And you certainly do that. I know the last time when we walked the grounds, there was some people doing kind of like a site survey for a wedding. And then they had the wedding right out here by the pool and the courtyard. And then the cool thing is like, you have this courtyard that kind of separates the actual hotel from where the club sits and the restaurant. So the club and the restaurant are on one side. As you get to the top of Markham Hill, there's a parking lot, there's handicap parking, and then there is the club and the restaurant. And then if you go around, there's also parking on the back side where the hotel is. And so they technically have two separate entrances, but it all feels like one place, right? You're not separated. So like somebody staying in the hotel feels like they're part of the club and vice versa. Cause like I see every time I'm here working at the club, I look at the hotel and I can see it. And it's like, it's right next to you. So I guess that was intentional.
Yes. So our hotel is definitely unique that it's kind of situated almost like a getaway.
Yeah.
And that's not really typical for a lot of hotels. You're used to dealing with a lot of out of town guests. But for our hotel, we have a lot of staycations.
Yeah, I've actually had friends post that, I'm staying at the Stonebreaker this weekend as a in-town getaway.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Because that's what these grounds they open up this space where, you're in the middle of a city that has 100,000 plus people in it. But when you come up here to Markham Hill, it feels like you are away from the noise. And that is very intentional. The hotel is very minimalistic in its approach, but it is loudly spoken in the hospitality.
Yeah.
And so that is very intentional. We don't have desks in our rooms, but that's because we want hotel guests to come here to the main house or work in the common areas, the courtyard, the pergolas, the terraces, screened in porch. Like we want people to kind of get out of their rooms and experience the grounds. So we have everything that you need in the rooms, but we still invite you to kind of come out into the open spaces and be a part of the nature and all of the harmony that it creates between the buildings as well.
And we'll put some pictures in the show notes for those that are interested in checking out the rooms. I got to tell you folks, I mean, you guys all know me. You know I like really good food. You know I like great spaces. The rooms are well appointed. They're minimalist as Cognac described, but they are well appointed. Very, very nice rooms, very clean lines. I mean, there was no wasted space, I think, and that's the best way to describe it. And to me, I am coming here for a staycation with my wife to get away from the kids and to just experience a long weekend or something like that. But, I also thought I saw this space up here as being a nice getaway for someone that's in the creator mode, right? Like I keep saying that I'm working on my book, and I am. And those that listen to me all the time, you guys can hold me accountable, but this would be a great place to come and work on a book, work on a manuscript or something along those lines where you can kind of get away from it all, but still be close to everything that's happening around here.
And I mean, there's no inch of this property that wasn't thoughtfully designed.
Yeah.
And I think when you go into a lot of commercial spaces or you go into a lot of corporately ran hotels, everything feels like it's a selling feature.
Yeah.
But here at the Stonebreaker, we want our hospitality. It's very customer forward. It's very guest forward. And we want that to speak to you more so than having our logo on every pen, every coaster, TVs, walls, and all those things. We want you to be able to experience this brand.
Yeah.
So it's a brand that's not going to necessarily visually be in your face, but it should be something that you're experiencing and you're feeling no matter what building you walk into.
Yeah. And, you know, as I was thinking about the lengths that you guys have gone to create that kind of special place, I'd be curious to know, what has the response been from users of this space, not just the club, but specifically the hotel too, people that come here that aren't familiar with this area and just stumbled upon the Stonebreaker and decided to stay here? What kind of comments are you hearing and feedback are you getting from people?
Beautiful, thoughtful decor is usually the first thing that comes across. We get a lot of guest feedback for our coffee program over at the hotel. So as a tribute to the summer camps that took place here, we don't have coffee makers in our rooms.
Okay.
So we do a delivery coffee service. So every guest, they get their morning coffee delivered in a thermos and a Stanley tackle box that has all of the accoutrements with it, but it is a early morning coffee delivery. And so we always get comments about, you know, everyone loving the coffee delivery program because it is something unique and something different that you may not get at other places.
And is that something that you can either opt in or opt out of?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I love that coffee program with the Stanley mugs. So that's cool.
And then another thing is just our grounds. So we opened up our courtyard space this spring, and guests are really enjoying being able to go have their morning coffee out by the fire pit. They can see the deer grazing in the meadow.
Yeah.
They can see the birds. They can be amongst the trees. And a lot of our guests who come from larger cities, they enjoy being able to have a peacefulness around them when they come up the hill. And even those who have lived here in Fayetteville for many years, when they come up here to Markham Hill, they always feel like they've been transported to another place. Because it definitely is something that's unique that you don't see here in Northwest Arkansas.
And I would imagine too, with the proximity of the university, you guys are really getting some experience hosting different folks that are coming here. I mean, literally, you could stay here and then walk down to the game.
Yes.
And I would imagine with some of the big games that are coming up every season at the Razorback Stadium or at even Bud Walton, that this is like a prime location for people to come and just, you know, get ready before the game.
Yes. And it's a good spot if you don't like the games either.
Right. And you want to get away.
So we're another getaway. It's kind of twofold, especially on game days, because we do have the Razorback fans who are getting ready to go down the hill to watch the games. But then we also have some of our club members who aren't going to the game and they just want a quiet space to relax and, you know, maybe watch it on TV. So we're creating some dual spaces for people for sure. We did host a lot of families that were dropping off the incoming freshmen this year. So we experienced a couple of weeks of that. And that was definitely unique within itself because, you know, not too often in hospitality or from the outside looking in, most people don't realize that we get all of the experiences, whether it's the engagement parties or the engagements that we have take place up here on property, or the drop off to college where, you know, your child is creating a new path or charting a new path. And so what does that look like for parents? And as part of a hospitality company, we get to interact with all of that, whether it's in the restaurant or the hotel or through our club members. We're getting to see all those experiences unfold, and we have to be kind of an anchor point for the crying mom or dad.
Right. Because inevitably that happens, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just try to situate ourselves and be able to be whatever we need for our guests at that point in time.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, and that to me is kind of like what the you guys are kind of like a Swiss Army knife,
Yes.
if you will, of locations, because again, you have the overnight options, you have the day options to come in and tell us a little bit about the club itself and how that works. And if somebody wanted to come up here and check out the club, because I've became a member of the club and I'm just putting that out there, I've actually shared a couple of guest passes with some friends that have come up here and checked it out. My wife's company came up here and had an event here and a meeting and a luncheon. They really enjoyed themselves, really had a fabulous time. So just kind of walk us through all of the aspects that encompass the club itself so that people understand what it's all about, right?
So we opened up the club last year in August. We accepted our first founding member. And then we opened up the main house in October to all of our members. So the club at its beginning was nomination based. So we enrolled 50 founding members. And so those founding members were going to basically help us shape what this community was going to look like. We had people who worked in local government. We had a lot of small business owners. We had people in real estate, banking, construction, health and wellness. I mean, like our founding membership class is very unique within itself. And we did that intentionally. One, because a lot of times you want to be around your circle. And we wanted to make sure that we had a very diverse circle or a very diverse community that was going to be able to utilize the space. And so that's kind of how we started our membership population. And we got nominations from our founding membership class. And then in April of this year, we started accepting community applications. And when we say community applications, that means it's very grassroots. So we don't have a 12-page survey that you have to fill out in order to become a member. But the one question that we do ask on our member surveys is, do you feel comfortable sharing something with the community?
Right.
Would you be interested in member-led events? And what is your space utilization? So we want people in the space. That's the number one driver for this club. And we want you to identify us as your third space. So whether that's going to be working out here, socializing here, dinners, events, special occasions, we need you in this space because that's how this community grows. And so we function a little bit uniquely because we are driven by those intentions. We're not driven by numbers and we're not driven by wanting people to just say, hey, well, I'm a member at the Stonebreaker.
Right.
We need for you to actually be in this space because that's how we get our feedback. We always pose a lot of questions to our members first, whether it's new drink menus, new food menus. Our members are typically our guinea pigs. So if you are coming up here as a community guest to the restaurant or the hotel, thank the members for any changes because they typically experience them first. And we get a lot of our feedback that influences the whole property from our members. And so they are also stewards or trailblazers to how we do things here at the Stonebreaker.
Yeah. I mean, and when you think of it, you guys are going to great lengths to create an inclusive and intentional space for such a diverse community as Fayetteville and just Northwest Arkansas, right? I mean, and Blake Street House does the same thing. And so there is a lot of effort that goes on behind the scenes. As director of operations, what has been your biggest challenge, as well as what has been the one thing that has really kind of helped you to grow in your role here at the Stonebreaker?
I think in operations, it's almost like it's like a twofold thing because while, my title is director of operations, I feel like I'm more of a curator.
Yeah.
And that curation starts one with our team members and what kind of environment we're cultivating for them here. And then the next part of that is our guests. And so the three things that kind of stay a constant focus for me here in my role is what is the experience? How do we lean into the history, but embrace our future.
Mm-hmm.
And then thirdly is listening. And the listening part is the biggest or most important thing in all of that, because we have to listen to be good hospitality providers. And so I find myself seeking out club members for their feedback. I find myself reaching out to restaurant guests who celebrated a big moment or a big achievement here with us. And I do the same with hotel guests, because at the end of the day, I want to see what's driven them up here.
Yeah.
Why did you choose, to give us a try? Because as a new property, we're always data collecting.
Yeah.
How do we make the experience better? We don't necessarily have to be your first option, but we want to be an option for you. And so in operations, we're constantly thinking about what is our overall experience and what do we want to portray to the masses who come up here to the Hill.
Yeah. And I would imagine with the team that you have here, one of the big focuses as director of operations is how you guys collaborate across different areas. So collaborate from food with the restaurant to hospitality with the club and the hotel to events.
Yes.
Right. So it's kind of like those three, the trifecta of things. It's like, how do you make those all work together?
By keeping everything experience focused.
Okay.
And I talk a lot about experiences with the team only because experiences sometimes feel almost like a luxury.
Yeah.
And they can feel unobtainable to some people. But here at the Stonebreaker, everything that you do here should be an experience.
Sure.
So when you walk in and the host greets you here at the main house, when you come into the lobby at the hotel, when you're here for a site visit for, what could be a big day like your wedding day, or it could also be a celebration of life.
Yeah.
We have to be intentional about what experience we're offering to our guests. And that starts with us in operations. We have to have a servant leadership mindset that we are going to interact with our guests with intention, but we're also going to interact with our team members as they were guests as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to give everyone what I like to say top tier experience, whether they're coming to grab a cup of coffee, hotel guests, wedding guests. We have to make those experiences intentional. And that's with a lot of collaboration in what we do internally. And just as a reference point, if a hotel guest, and it starts with a lot of internal communication, but let's say a hotel guest, their fan was going on and off in their room the night before. We have a log that we kind of take these notes that shares out across all the different departments so that the restaurant knows, hey, the guest in 205 didn't sleep well that night.
Yeah.
Let's offer them a espresso shot, or let's take extra care when they come over to the restaurant this morning for coffee. And so when we do those things and we communicate not only about guest experiences and how they've kind of utilized the property, then we can be intentional with our interactions. There's no broad brush to say, hey, we're going to treat this person this way. We can uniquely tailor the experience to what that person needs.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's important. And that speaks volumes to the attention to detail that you guys have brought to this experiment, if you will, right? But it's a grand experiment. Yes. And it's one that you guys are doing well with. And it's one of those things where you have to baby step it, right? Yes. Every step of the way, you've got to continue to grow. And I will say that I have been really impressed with the staff. Very attentive. As soon as they see you, they greet you, always bringing water, the fresh pot of coffee, whatever you need, they have. And the cool thing about it, like if folks come and listening to this, if you come to the club and check it out, you can just, think of like if WeWork ever went on steroids and created a really, not that WeWork isn't a positive work environment, but created a really great environment where you can get some work done, where you can have something to eat. If you needed to take a break and step away from your work, you can go sit down and look at the TV. There's a pool table. There's a little bit of everything. And then if you want to, and I have yet to take advantage of this, but to blow off some steam in the weight room, do a little working out. They've got a pool right outside. It's kind of like a lap pool. I mean, there's a lot of options for people here just to kind of just reconnect with themselves. Because I always feel like I've reconnected with myself when I come here. I usually retreat to the quiet room. And that's the room where I can't take any calls and I really can't talk. So it's just me and my thoughts and whatever I'm working on. I can type away on my computer, or write, but it's just kind of refreshing. And then the nice thing is that you've got these wonderful views outside of the windows where you can see everything, but you feel like you're in somebody's home.
Yes. And that is, I like for members, it's always, fun to see how members experience the space. So like you said, some members like to go to the quiet room and get some work done. And then I'll see them at the pool table midday. Yeah. And so that's always unique to see people experiencing the space how they need to and becoming very comfortable with taking a call out on the screened in porch, seeing people make a lap around the perimeter of the property on Zoom calls and things like that, or seeing people in the quiet room reading a book or taking that time for themselves, or just coming in midday. So we have a lot of members who pop in on their lunch break and they may get a bite to eat, or they may just sit and on decompress. The screen in porch and decompress.
Yeah, which is cool. Actually, I didn't even think about that. That is a good idea. And you are right. I do notice people at certain times of the day, the cadence of people coming and going, and that there are some people that come here just for a hot minute to get away. And then they head back to the university or head back to downtown Fayetteville or someplace else around this area. And so, this is kind of like your home away from home where you can kind of come and decompress for a few minutes. And then, because we all need that, we all need to be able to switch on and switch off.
Yes. Or some members, they'll work for a while in the morning and then their afternoon break is reading a book by the pool.
Yeah. There you go.
And so
who am I to judge?
Yes. So you have all these unique spaces that all kind of tie together to make this one united front.
Yeah.
Of whatever it is that you need to embrace, we want to be that space for you. And it's, it can be as cozy as you want it, whether you're here in the chest room for a private meeting or you're in the lounge, kind of taking a break. But we want members this should be a extension of everything that you do.
Okay. I love that. Well, as we wind up here, I did want to ask you one question before we close, but what's something people might misunderstand about the Stonebreaker at first glance?
That we are a private space.
Okay. There you go. It's open to anybody. You come up here to Markham Hill, you can park, come on inside. You don't have to show a key card or anything.
So when we say private club, we say social club, and we say all these big words, we never say exclusive.
Yeah.
So we never want this to feel like it's an exclusive space. It is a community space that is open to everyone. We do have, and we try not to even use the term private club. We call it social club. This is a social space. So I invite any and everyone to come up here and take in the space, sit by the fire pits, grab a cup of coffee, drink it on the porch, screened in porch, have lunch, have dinner, come up here to the club space. There's not going to be a guard that stops you asking for identification to come up to the second floor of the house. But we want to be a community anchor here in Fayetteville. And then from there, we want to be a community anchor for all of Northwest Arkansas.
I love that's perfect. I mean, that's well said. And I think, the Stonebreaker to me kind of complements what Fayetteville is all about. You see the bumper stickers, keep Fayetteville funky. The Stonebreaker is kind of a funky, cool space, right? Where it's welcoming and it's not selective in the sense that, you can kind of come here and just hang out. And so, I plan to come and spend more time here as my schedule allows. If somebody listening to this episode wants to get involved here at the Stonebreaker to visit or support your work, where should they start? So
you can start at our website at stonebreakerhotel.com, or you can give us a call. Our number is 479-350-1000. And our team will get you charted in the right place. So whether that's for more information about our restaurant, you want to come stay at the hotel, or you just want to ask us general questions about our event spaces, both of those things will get you headed in the right direction. And then if you do come up and see the space, please stop in and ask for me. I would love to give you a tour.
Yeah, trust me, Cognac will take really good care of you. And oh, by the way, they do have an app. And so I've actually used the app to share some passes with people. You can use the app to, I believe, reserve space in different rooms, because we're actually in the chess room right now, which is a beautiful dark blue room that it just has a certain ambiance about it. It's very cool. The colors are muted, but it's a very warm room.
Yes.
It's the easiest way to describe it. And I've actually recorded 2 podcast episodes here, and I actually hope to do a few more. So anybody that's listening to this that I potentially invite on the podcast, you may be joining me up here at the Stonebreaker to record an episode. So you'll get to see it for yourself.
Yes, and then have a tour with me afterwards.
Right, exactly. So the deal is, if you get invited onto this podcast and we do it at the Stonebreaker, you also have to commit to taking a little walking tour with Cognac Franklin, and I'm sure she will take really, really good care of you and show you what the Stonebreaker is all about. Well, Cognac, thank you so much for sitting down. And I certainly appreciate our friendship. And I thank you for all that you're doing here at the Stonebreaker and just doing in our community as a whole. You've got a lot going on, and we just kind of scratched the surface of who Cognac Franklin is. We'll probably have to get you back on this podcast in the future to talk about some of the other cool things that you're working on. But we really appreciate it. And we want to encourage everybody to come on out to the StonebreakerHotel.com online to check it out. You can also call them up at 479-350-1000. I would encourage you, if you're looking for a place for a staycation, look no further than the Stonebreaker. How many rooms do you guys have here?
76 rooms.
76 rooms. So they have a room for you, and they will leave the light on for you when all is said and done. So I really want to encourage you to take advantage of that. But Cognac Franklin, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, folks, spaces like the Stonebreaker don't just happen. They're designed with heart, intention, and a deep belief in the power of community, as Cognac has so aptly stated. Cognac Franklin and her team are building more than a business. They're cultivating belonging right here in Fayetteville. So the next time you're in Fayetteville, stop by the Stonebreaker. You might just find what you didn't know you were looking for. I'm Randy Wilburn, the host of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast, and we'll see you back here next week with another new episode of the podcast. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Check us out each and every week, available anywhere that great podcasts can be found. For show notes or more information on becoming a guest, visit IamNorthwestArkansas.com. We'll see you next week on I Am Northwest Arkansas.
Attention Northwest Arkansas businesses and talent seekers. Introducing OnboardNWA.com, your hyperlocal job board crafted for our unique community. Struggling to find the perfect match for your job openings? Onboard NWA simplifies the hiring process, connecting you with the region's top talent through tailored talent matching solutions. Whether you're an employer seeking expertise or a professional looking for your next opportunity, Onboard NWA is here for you. Discover more at onboardnwa.com, and let's build the future of Northwest Arkansas together.